Hello everyone and welcome to another News Coolum video, another plug side chat. GM, I've talked a lot about them in terms of their layoffs and the transition that was announced and CEO Mary Barra's presentation where she's talking about the transition to 300-mile electric vehicles, and they have 20 of them or so planned. But I wanted to talk about, in my opinion, for the North American market, the three most important electric vehicles that GM could actually produce. And I realized that I can't really give them their full due unless I talk about them individually. So this would just be the first one. I realize this is sort of projecting on my part because I feel like it would be the GM EV that I would be most likely to buy. It's essentially a Malibu EV. The reason I say that is, and I'm also looking at this from GM's perspective too, because one of the things that it looks like they're trying to do is use as many cross purpose platforms as they can and be able to share components across vehicles. So that sort of cross purpose for different parts, component parts within the vehicle, brings down a lot of cost. So these vehicles that I wanted to talk about that I think GM should emphasize in their transition to electrics could essentially use the Bolt EV's components almost part for part. So the first one, the Malibu EV, I think it's important because while I don't think there's validity to saying that a Bolt EV is just a city car, right? That's a term that's used by some people to try to stifle EV adoption, and I don't think it's very helpful. You have to make some concessions. Your trip times aren't going to be as fast. You're going to have to make more stops than maybe you're accustomed to an internal combustion engine vehicle, but the Bolt EV is capable. Now, a Malibu EV addresses a lot of those issues because of the design, because it's a sedan design. It's far more aerodynamic natively. It has a smaller frontal area. So you're talking about a vehicle that would easily have EPA mileage numbers 4.2, 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour, and you'd face much less in the way of penalties when you're driving freeway speeds. So at, say, 70 to 75 miles an hour, in my Bolt EV, I'm typically seeing 3.3 to 3.5, maybe 3.6 miles per kilowatt hour. Could go lower in poorer weather, but that's about what you can expect. Now, a Malibu EV at those speeds would likely be seeing 3.8 to 4 miles per kilowatt hour. So each kilowatt hour of battery you have, it gets you farther. And that also increases the effective recharge time for your vehicle. And so all of those make it more capable for long distance trips. And something like the Malibu EV, I think it fits a market segment that's not really represented right now. And it could almost take part for part the Bolt EV's motor. I would recommend a slightly larger battery, probably 70 to 75 kilowatt hours. But essentially, what that creates is a 300-mile electric vehicle. And I know GM is planning on some battery innovations, possibly transitioning over to the NMC 811, which is essentially nickel, manganese, and cobalt, but it's bringing the cobalt levels down, which brings the cost of the battery down, but it has other advantages as well. I hope they're not necessarily waiting on that technology. So even if they just wanted to start to cross the chasm, as they say, with lower cost, higher energy density, but slower charging batteries like the Bolt EV's batteries, well, they could do so. And a 70 to 75 kilowatt hour battery using the Bolt EV's battery cells in a Malibu EV would still be able to maintain charging rates of 65 to 70 kilowatts that would be a very conservative charging rate. But, charging at 65 to 70 kilowatts when you're getting 4 miles per kilowatt hour makes for very fast trip times. And we're finally starting to see the public charging infrastructure available to support that. And if that means that you could get this Malibu EV in under $35,000 to $40,000 for a 300-mile sedan, I think it would fit right into GM's plans to start providing these 300-mile vehicles. And I think you'd see a lot of them sold. And so that would be my suggestion for GM. Don't overthink it, just start doing it. And one of the most important, the top three electric vehicles that I think GM could produce in the next year or two would be a Malibu EV. I'd love to hear what you think. What do you think about a Malibu EV? Do you think it would be a good use of GM's resources? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. It really helps out the channel. And thank you for watching.